Houston, we have a problem, but we are glad that the problem was recognized before things got this serious and is now being taken care of. You guys must have no idea what we're talking about. Let's catch you up. In this video, we're going to talk about the postponement of NASA's SpaceX rocket, the how, why, and when. So let's get started. First up, let's talk about what seems to be the problem. It seems the next Dragon passengers from SpaceX will have to wait a little longer before takeoff. Although no confirmation has been received, it seems during the trip from SpaceX's factory in Hawthorne, California to the company's test facility in McGregor, Texas, riding horizontally on a truck and trailer, struck a bridge and suffered damage. Sounds like a GTA mission gone wrong if you ask us. The rocket was supposed to be test-fired before moving on to the Kennedy Space Center for launch preparations according to the Falcon 9 booster stage. In response to hardware damage sustained during transport from SpaceX's production site in Hawthorne, California to the company's McGregor test facility in Texas for stage testing, NASA explained in their statement that SpaceX is dismantling and replacing the rocket's interstage and some onboard instruments. The damage to the booster was not disclosed by NASA or SpaceX. Dana Wagle, NASA's deputy program manager for the International Space Station, stated that the launch of Crew 5 at the start of September was still being planned during a pre-launch briefing on July 13th for the CRS-25 cargo Dragon mission to the space station. Next up, what's next on the schedule? At a July 20th briefing, NASA officials said the launch had slipped. That mission has 3 launch date options of August 29th, September 2nd, and September 5th, which raised questions of potential conflicts with Crew 5 launching in early September. But since the damages, according to the space agency's statement made on Thursday, SpaceX and NASA will fly Crew 5, their upcoming crewed trip to the International Space Station, no earlier than September 29th due to the delay. The mission will take place after the subsequent launch of astronauts aboard a Russian Soyuz. After some lengthy negotiation between the two parties, they've settled on an arrangement. The Russian manned spacecraft Soyuz MS-22, which was supposed to launch on September 21st but was delayed, will now arrive at the ISS before Crew 5. Sergei Prokopyev, Dmitry Petelin, and NASA astronaut Frank Rubio will be transported to the orbiting laboratory in the capsule. Then, Oleg Artemyev, Sergei Korsakov, and Denis Matveev will be brought to Earth's surface by Soyuz MS-21. Astronauts Nicole Mann and Josh Cassad make up Crew 5. Koichi Wakata with Anna Kakina, a cosmonaut for Roscosmos. According to the revised Crew 5 timetable, both the launch slots and the passengers will be switched between the vehicles. For the agency, who has long argued in favor of crew swaps, in which Russian cosmonauts fly on NASA's privately funded missions while its astronauts continue to travel on Russian Soyuz capsules, the voyage will mark a significant turning point. Compromise at its finest, are we right? Next up, here are some other details that the agency shared. In addition to the revised time frame, NASA and SpaceX provided information about the rocket and spacecraft that will carry Crew 5. The Dragon capsule Endurance, which launched in November 2021 with Crew 3 and returned to Earth in early May, will be used for the expedition. It will be the first commercial crew trip to use 4 veteran Draco engines to guide the capsule rather than fresh so-called front bulkhead Draco engines, according to NASA, despite the fact that SpaceX frequently flies its hardware again. According to the statement, teams are also replacing the capsule's heat shield, parachutes, and pod panels. Even though Endurance will launch on a brand new Falcon 9 launcher, the mission crew still needs to deal with some difficulties there due to the damages suffered. But according to the latest news, the booster passed numerous tests to make sure there was no damage beyond the interstage portion, and more testing will be conducted once all the replacements are finished, according to a statement from SpaceX and NASA. Well, that's a relief. Lastly, what's the deal between SpaceX and NASA? NASA has a deal with Elon Musk to fly extended crew rotation missions to the station. SpaceX received 8 more crew rotation flights from NASA in 2 separate contract extensions announced earlier this year, bringing the total number of NASA-funded astronaut missions for the company through the end of the 2020s to 14. 4 of these missions have already taken off. The U.S. Space Agency initially awarded SpaceX 6 crew rotation flights in 2014. 3 Crew Dragon missions were covered by a contract renewal announced in February, with NASA paying the company around $64.7 million each round-trip astronaut seat. Boeing, the other commercial crew contractor for the space agency, plans to launch its first crew test flight to the space station in the latter part of this year, or in the first few months of 2023. 2.5 years after a first attempt that was cut short owing to software issues, Boeing's Starliner crew capsule successfully completed an unpiloted test voyage to the station. Once the Starliner is approved for for astronaut transport, NASA has contracted with Boeing for 6 operational crew rotation flights that will alternate with SpaceX Crew Dragon missions. A match made in the galaxies, quite literally. Now for some other news that might interest you. First up, NASA recently made an interesting discovery. Using data from NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, it's better to just call it LRO spacecraft, and computer modeling. NASA-funded scientists discovered shaded locations within pits on the moon that always hover around a comfortable 63 degrees Fahrenheit, in comparison to areas on the moon's surface which heat up to 260 Fahrenheit during the day and cool to minus 280 Fahrenheit at night. The pits and caves to which they may lead would make thermally stable sites for lunar exploration. NASA's goal is to inspire and benefit humanity by exploring and understanding the unknown in space. Pits were discovered on the moon for the first time in 2009, and scientists have since wondered if they led to caves that could be explored or used as shelters. Cosmic rays, solar radiation, and micrometeorites would also be protected by the pits or caves. Tyler Horvath, a planetary science doctoral student at the University of California, Los Angeles, led a new study which was recently published in the journal Geophysical Research Letters. He said that about 16 of more than 200 tubes were most likely collapsed lava tubes. In case you didn't know, lava tubes form when molten lava flows beneath a field of cooled lava, or when a crust forms over a river of lava, leaving a long hollow tunnel. When the ceiling of a solidified lava tube collapses, a pit opens up, which can lead into the rest of the cave-like tube. Two of the most prominent pits have obviously overhangs that quite clearly lead to caves or voids, and there is strong evidence that another's overhang may also lead to a large cave. The team believes the shadowing overhang is responsible for the consistent temperature, limiting how hot things get during the day and preventing heat from radiating away at night. As David Page, a co-author of the paper who leads the Diviner Lunar Radiometer experiment, said, humans evolved living in caves, and to caves we might return when we live on the moon. How fitting. Next up, let's take a look at NASA embracing a dying star. Zeta Ophiuchi has a complicated history, having been ejected from its birthplace by a powerful stellar explosion. A new look by NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory adds to the story of this rogue star. Zeta Ophiuchi is a hot star, about 440 light-years away from Earth, that is 20 times more massive than the Sun. Previous observations show that Zeta Ophiuchi was once in close orbit with another star before being ejected at approximately 100,000 miles per hour when this companion was destroyed in a supernova explosion over 1 million years ago. Infrared data from NASA's now-retired Spitzer Space Telescope show a spectacular shock wave, red and green, formed by matter blowing away from the star's surface and slamming into gas in its path. Data from Chandra show a bubble of X-ray emission, blue, around the star, caused by gas heated to tens of millions of degrees by the shockwave's effects. The first detailed computer models of the shockwave were created by a team of astronomers, led by Samuel Green of the Dublin Institute for Advanced Studies in Ireland. They've started to see if the models can explain data obtained at various wavelengths, such as X-ray, optical, infrared, and radio observations. These researchers intend to test more complicated models with additional physics, such as the effects of turbulence and particle acceleration, in the future to see if the agreement with X-ray data improves. Lastly, here's more proof of why you need to wear sunscreen. Scientists from NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission recently discovered that asteroids regenerate their surfaces much faster than Earth. The researchers discovered that the sun's heat fractures rocks on asteroid Bennu in as little as 10,000 to 100,000 years. This data will assist scientists in estimating how long it takes boulders on asteroids like Bennu to break down into smaller particles, which may eject into space or remain on the asteroid's surface. Tens of thousands of years may appear to be a long time, but according to Marco Delbo, senior scientist at Université Côte d'Azur, scientists assumed that surface regeneration on asteroids took a few millions of years. He further stated that they were surprised to learn that the aging and weathering process on asteroids occur at such a rapid geological rate. That's all for today, and see you next time.